Welcome to Systems of Existence, Rocio and Angel from Los Angeles. I'm excited to talk about, probably many different things, but also the orchid in the background, what it is all about, and obviously the intense energy of this year and what we can do to create our own magic and, in a way, be untouched by it and to be a little angel in the wild, wild ride that we are in. And so, yeah, before I go ahead, I want you to introduce yourself and tell us how you've experienced the start of this transformative year. Everyone is talking about 2026, and now we are right in it. What's happening in your world? What's happening in LA? How are you feeling? And what are you sensing in the air for yourself? And I want to say humanity.
Mm, how profound. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you so much for having us here, Katarina. Well, look, my name is Angel. I am an ex-corporate executive from Hollywood. I used to sell content, movies, and TV series around the world. That has led us to beautiful places. I was born in Puerto Rico, then lived in New York, in Los Angeles, in Miami, and eventually ended up in Mexico City, where I met my partner, lovely wife, and spiritual
Companion for the last
companion.
27 lives.
Yeah.
At least.
And at least, that's right. And that when we met, we really took on a journey that we weren't prepared for nor knowledgeable about. We just allowed ourselves to go and move forward. And that led us to Miami, where our daughters were born, to Hong Kong, where we lived about 6 years, to London, where we lived about 5 years. And now we lived in Los Angeles. And it really was in Los Angeles that we started this profound transformation within and individually. You want to speak about you and where you come from?
Yes, let me tell you something, a little bit of my journey. I grew up in a family and a culture where you are a professional victim.
Mm,
So you learn how to fight, how to feel shame, guilt, and really to break that circle, that place, that enchanted was was a beautiful journey of discover all our possibilities. So after the first steps is always to look around you and to see who's having fun, right? And after you are seeing people who they are free and begins to wonder, how do you do it? And the way I went into this discovery of myself, of this beautiful energy, was through forgiveness.
mm,
Because at one point I was feeling in my body so much pain and so much um, anger and guilt and shame that at one point it's like I need to let go. I need to forgive. At the beginning, I was thinking I need to forgive somebody. So I was asking everyone, how do you do it? And people in general that don't know how to do it. So finally, when I arrived to LA, I was able to experience the connection of an idea and a feeling and let it go to really transform. So in that moment was something that I begin to use to really heal myself and the lineage
yeah.
where I was little by little, because you need to revisit all the programming that you has been having. So finally, after feeling like another person and discover myself with another eyes, in that moment is when I begin to say to Angel, we need to share this to the world in
Mm,
a storytelling for people to discover how to access to themselves and to begin to reprogram yourself and remove the limiting beliefs and remove the pain for your body. And that's why we wrote and create a book that at one point, please send love and light, that maybe one day is gonna be a TV show. And that's it.
I guess the last thing I would add to that, and going back to your question, we've now learned to see our lives in a different way. And you can call it vibrations, you can call it, it's like going to a movie theater. And there's a lot of movies playing. There's the romantic, there is the holiday, there's the horror, the war, and you have a choice. You have a choice of which movie you want to go in and see and experience and live. And for us, since we've made this journey within, we now are more conscious and aware and really, really very decisive about the type of movies that we go to the theater to watch, the theater of our lives. And so, going back to your question about 2026, we know there's a lot of challenges out there, but there's also a lot of peace if you look for it. There's a lot of introspection and growth and learning and opportunity. And we choose to focus on that primarily. And so, that's our view of the world right now, although we're cognizant that not everyone is in that frequency.
I love that. Thank you, first of all, for sharing your story. I mean, so many things I already want to say. We kind of touched on it also before we started the recording, because it's us really waking up to the fact that the movie is just the manifestation of the program that is in our cells. You know, when I work with the gene keys, even with astrology, it's all coded in our cells, and we have to stop seeing the physical reality as this solid thing that is, again, like as if it's imprinting us for the rest of our lives, really. And to also what you said, not be a victim of the program that we inherited. Just because you've inherited a necklace from your grandma doesn't mean that you have to wear it for the rest of your life. You don't have to, right? Maybe she hated it, right? Maybe you can throw it away. You don't have to honor your grandma and wear that necklace for the rest of your life. And the tricky thing about the movie analogy, which I love, because we get so lost in all the movies that we see right now, and obviously with, social media, with the internet, we see many different versions of reality, possibilities, and movies projected onto us like constantly. We are bombarded. I mean, no wonder our brain is just like, okay, now I could be this, now I could be this, now I could be this, and now this, and oh, that's also a possibility. I could move there, and it's like overload. So we have to
Yes.
understand two. I want to say three things. One thing is that we probably woke up in a movie theater and watched a movie for a very, very, very long time and didn't even consider or know that we are allowed to move to get out.
Love that.
That's
Wow.
they're right. And so
Wow.
yeah, it's like, oh, I just woke up in a movie and I didn't even know that there are other movie the theaters, locations, other movies playing at the same time, that I could just leave the room, right? Without
Yes.
anyone like, and that's where most people get stuck in. It's like the childhood programming, the programs we inherited, and the coding and all of that. And we have to see that. I mean, that's how I see it also with the Gene Keys, where it's like, okay, I'm sitting in this movie theater watching a movie, but I'm actually the editor. So I came here to watch the movie and make it better, or change some
Mm,
things in the movie, in the plot line that I don't like and that I don't want to continue. Or if we
I
don't
love
even
that.
take a movie, we take a series, for example, right? That's like building up. Okay, and so in the next season, I don't want this to happen anymore. I don't want this to happen anymore. Instead of being like, oh my gosh, I hate it, but I can't change it, and I'm just stuck here, needing to watch a movie that is really affecting me and that I really don't like, right?
I
I
love it.
love that. You are
Yeah.
the editor of the movie of your life,
Yeah, and it's not just your life. It's really just to be like, okay, these people are suffering. It's like my lineage, right? I'm
right?
Yes.
supporting all my family members. I'm everyone around me. It's like the people, the friends, and I'm like, I don't, I want better for everyone. So how can we change the plot line so everyone has better opportunities? Because
I love
again,
that.
working with the Gene Keys, and you've probably done a lot of lineage work too, it's mind-blowing sometimes how you change things in your imprint, and then circumstances, even for your loved ones, change. And you, I mean, it's an
Yes.
analogy that I don't have proof of, so don't quote me on it, but my dad was supposed to have heart surgery this January, and everything was
Mhm.
planned. And because of that, also, I moved back to Germany and spent over 4 weeks prior to the surgery with him. And then 4 days before the surgery, the doctor calls him and is like, well, maybe it's not actually necessary to have a surgery. We have a different option and we want to see that first before it goes into that kind of, and now all of a sudden the heart is not a problem anymore. I'm like, what?
How is that possible? Right.
Oh, okay, yeah, sure. Right?
Right.
It's like, yeah, maybe a miracle, but maybe, this guy, man just needed to have love around him again. And, also I mean, there were a lot of other things that I don't want to go into details, but I really believe, and we talked about it too, the one remedy is obviously love and forgiveness in a way, and letting go of grieving. Forgiveness is not actually, in my opinion, something you do, but it's something you don't anymore. You don't, regret or judge or, are angry or hold sadness and grief and blame and all. They just let it all go and be like, okay, no, peace. So,
That's why we saw in our book, it's
mm,
called The Orchid, The Secret Code of Modern Goddesses. We put so many different teachers and healers and therapies and ideas to have inspiration because not everyone resonates with the same. So everyone needs to find the
yeah,
key
yeah,
that helps them to, to begin to see the projection.
I love that.
So that's why we have like I understand something. I cannot change anyone, but I can show them how I live and how miracles are happening in my life every day. And it's not because I want to create envy, it's because I want to create inspiration and to say, I'm not special. We are all the same. You can create the same,
Mm,
but you need to trust, right? So we are putting, like I say, a path of rose petals for everyone to follow. And when you are ready, you're going to see them
mm,
and you're going to pick it up little by little because curiosity is what makes you wonder in which projection you are. Because it's incredible when you are in your projection, in my case. And then I went to the house of a friend of mine, and oh, Kat, she has an amazing life. And I was, how? It's like
How is that possible?
how is that possible? And and of course now that I in that movie, in the same movie that she is, it's like oh my God, it's not so difficult. It's really simple, but you need to begin to believe, have hope, begin to understand how to do it, and know everyone has the same key. You need to
yeah,
find your own key.
to see it as an inspiration, not as a, I mean, most people get stuck because it's more I want to say easier, comfortable, not necessarily to be like, okay, I'm seeing someone else having this amazing life. Something must be wrong with me that I don't have it. That's the first
Right.
lane that everyone goes
I'm
into.
broken.
Is
Yeah.
judgment
I'm
and yeah,
broken.
yeah,
Instead of being like, how can I create that for myself? Let's see.
right.
Nice inspiration. Everyone's like, oh, I'm not good enough. Something must be wrong with me because, and that's just so the brain again being like, okay, that must have landed in that person's lap, which we don't know. It's an assumption. right?
Yeah.
We probably worked hard as well. We don't know the background. We don't know anything. How the character got there, we don't know. It was probably hard and not so easy, right?
Yeah, for sure. What we do in our book, Kat, is we separate it into three stages. And this was, for us, what we wanted to do is do a very basic approach to anyone who is in the early stages
Mm,
of figuring this out. So there's three stages. The first stage is awareness. Become aware. To your point, realize that you're in a movie
mm,
and that there might be other choices. That could be through inspiration, through observation, through travel. In our case, travel around the world gave us a perspective of all the different ways and many different ways in which people live their lives.
mm.
Oh,
Bless you.
thank
That's
In
you.
which people live their lives and behave, right? And one thing that may be taboo in one country is entirely acceptable in another. How is that? And so you start realizing that is a belief system,
mm,
religion, culture, family, experiences. So that's stage number one. At the end of that stage, we ask people to, within the story, ask themselves, do you want to change something about that? Because if you do, there are ways to do that. And then, of course, there are infinite ways. In the book, we present three: gratitude, using it as a force for expansion, for heightening your vibration; forgiveness, using it as a force of letting go, of releasing. We call forgiveness like your energy management system. Essentially, is wait, I'm wasting energy on what happened 5 minutes ago or 50 years ago. No, I got to cut that string. And then the other one is acceptance, right? Stop fighting the things that happen to you and learn how to swirl through life like water, like liquid, like vapor. And finally, when you recover that energy, because you are now more savvy at managing your energy, you have more energy stored within you. Then it goes into the last stage, which is be intentional about everything that you do, your choices, your senses, your actions. In our case, we say, you find power when you integrate and align your thoughts, your words, your emotions, and your actions.
mm.
Now, it's kind of like all of a sudden you're not saying one thing and doing another. Even that, it's kind of stretching you in different directions and really, um, just not focusing you. So, really, intention is about focus. And that's what the stories do. And it kind of gives people a journey through that, which is, oh, that's interesting. And it opens doors. And I think it opens a lot of curiosity.
Yeah. Curiosity is the key word here, which, even, I mean, in my case, like a big, big imprint still sometimes it's really hard to go through or to see it and to recognize that it is really just an imprint from my lineage. It has had to do with my relationship to food, eating, and my body. And
Mm,
what the only thing that really helps me out of it is also curiosity, to just
mm,
see life as an experiment and not so set in stone, to be like, okay, if I try this kind of way of eating now, let's see what happens, instead of being so caught in the fear and the programming and all the rules. I mean, and again, talking about what we see outside, and there are too many rules, and then usually when I have too many rules, I'm like, I'm not going to do anything. But then obviously restriction and not eating is also not an option, right? So you're like, okay, fuck, I feel like whatever I eat, it's wrong, right? That's what
Right.
society tells us, because this and this and this. And then I shut down. And instead of seeing it as like, oh my gosh, there are so many rules to life, to be like, okay, I can try this way of living for me. You can always change. Like
Yeah.
and you can always go back also. But just be curious what happens with, if you are a scientist in the lab and you just change something. And that can be a minor change in your day-to-day life. What if my daily habits are not, or like one of my favorite things that I even said on the podcast multiple times, and to my friends when they are so stuck in a rut, I'm like, you know what? Just imagine you would watch your life right now. Like, and
yeah.
that's a movie. And the character
Yes.
is so predictable. It's so
Yeah.
predictable. It's so boring. And sometimes I wake up and I'm like, okay, now wait a second. I don't have to do everything the same every single day just because I believe that that's who I am or how I do things. I'm so predictable. I'm bored of myself. Like, just shake it up, change it up. You can go back to
Shake
doing
it
it the
up.
same way the next day. But today, just for a day, just play pretend. The children have
Yeah.
done it all the time, right? To just be like, okay, now today I'm, a dancer or, a firefighter. I'm not whatever I was born to be, right?
Yeah.
100%. I have two daughters.
Hmm.
One is 20 and the other one is 18. And I've been teaching them lately all these tools for
Hmm.
them to really love themselves
Hmm.
and understand themselves better. And all the time we talk about how important is to have that thirst for life.
Hmm.
What make your soul tingle?
Yeah.
And it's like a doesn't matter what it is, but love what you do.
Mm.
Because when you love it, in that moment, the universe is gonna confabulate for you to have that experience, that adventure, that opportunity. And now that last week was my 54th birthday.
Wow, what? I mean,
Yes. And what I discover now going back is all the times that the universe showed me that love me.
mm,
And it's so much to see and to experience that I really now I know that I don't have any doubt. And that's why it's so important to continue to be focused in love and possibilities and create it. Doesn't matter what is the noise that is happening, right? Because that was the beginning of our conversation. How is United States right now? And you are a Mexican living in United States. So according to that, needs to be a difficult situation for me. But I don't live in that reality. I live in a reality that I want to create opportunities for other people. I want to create harmony. And and in the when you give to somebody is that is the present of life to give to somebody. Is so now I connect myself. I know better that I am in a long run of my life. And I'm like an athlete that I'm learning how to put more magic and more understanding and to my life.
mm,
And the same, I'm doing the example of my daughter to, yes, society is telling you to be focused in the glass empty, but we need to focus in the glass full to understand that when you are there, life continue to show you more and more joy and possibilities and good things, but it's so personal that at one point when that's why we need to have these conversations for people to understand that is possible, that is looks or they've been telling you in that movie that is difficult, is painful, you cannot do it. But in the moment that you follow the petals and you go to the other place, it's like a ha ha ha, you see how simple it is, and you are, yeah, this is so simple.
yeah, absolutely. And I almost, I mean, I tell myself every time, especially now, because we talked about our generation and how we really came to change those codings and programs in the cells. And we've been in a trainings camp basically our whole life to know how to shift these energetic patterns. And what's happening now, moving forward, I want to say really this and next year are hot points, but it's almost like in a game, I want to say, where we just reach such a high level of ability and skills to change frequencies that we are now ready for all the crazy shit coming out. Like, or if if you decide to clean up your house, right, and you cleaned all the big stuff, or like that is like very obvious, and now the shit from back in the corner comes as well, right? All the dead stuff and the things that you don't want to. And some people give up on that because they're like, wait, I'm just so exhausted. I cannot do this anymore. Or I failed because more is coming up or whatever it is. But it's for us to be like, no, this is the final countdown in a way because we know how to do this. Like
Mhm.
it cannot touch us anymore. And that's exactly what we came here to do. I mean, a lot of people ask, what's my purpose? What am I? You're not supposed to do anything. You're supposed to vibrate in a specific way. That's what,
Yes.
I'm someone who've been, for the last years, everyone came to me to be like, okay, tell me based on astrology and human design, what is my purpose? And I really came to the conclusion that I can't tell you a specific thing because that's up to you to create. But I know you came here to vibrate in a specific way. That's what I know.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. We
Thank you.
our conclusion is exactly the same. You came here to be the brightest, highest, most high vibrational version of yourself that you can be. Nothing and no one in the universe is like you. And you honor everything around you when you experience yourself fully. Not what people want of you, not what people tell you you need to be, not what society tells you what you need to be, but really what is all of a sudden you're like, oh my goodness, I dance. And when I dance, I fly, I
And the
lose
whole world is
myself.
watching.
Right. And it's almost like the world stops because the only thing that is happening is me moving through space and I lose myself in the process. And we've spoken to people that say that about baking, about driving,
Dancing.
about dancing, about running, about being a mom, being a dad,
Doing a
whatever,
massage.
a masseuse.
Mm.
And that's really for me, it's part also of that awareness. Start asking yourself, start looking within and remembering. Maybe it was when you were a child, maybe it was when you were a teenager, that one thing that you're like, ah, when I did that, I was in quote unquote heaven.
Yeah.
That tap into that because that energy is like a doorway into a part of you, a consciousness of you, that when you tap into it, it leads you down that path that is uniquely you.
Yeah.
And I agree. It's vibrate as high as you can. You did not come here to suffer. You came here to experience things, but the choice whether to suffer or rise from it, it really is yours and how you look at those experiences and those lessons.
Absolutely. I love that. It's almost like, find a thing where you forget about yourself. It sounds weird, but that's because otherwise you get lost in your story, in your programming, in your suffering, in your, whatever. But it's again going back to what we said earlier, also, we have to get through all the layers of programming and coding and whatever back to the inner child. That's why storytelling is so powerful because the inner child is so receptive to a story and wants to be part of the story if the story is good and then gets lost in the story. And I mean, children literally, after they watch the movie they love, they play pretend that they are the main character from that movie. And that's exactly how it works. Literally. They model it to us. Yeah, that's how you can change your life actually, you know?
It's funny. Recently, I've been using this example, and most of us, do not have to imagine the end of the world. And we don't have to imagine it because we've been told in countless ways, through the news, through movies, through series, how the world ends. So we can visualize that. Now, what we encourage people to do is to start finding stories where you end up winning, where you end up being successful, when you end up being abundant and rich, and not just economically, but rich in spirit, in emotion, in feelings, in relationships, because we need to start imagining that more and more so that we can start mimicking that. Just like you said, the little child mimics that. We need to mimic ourselves as a human race winning, and as our village winning, and as a family coming together and winning. And it takes a little bit of energy and it takes practice. It's not going to happen the first time,
That's
or
the
it might.
beauty. That's the beauty
It would
to,
be so boring if we can just win, I mean, again, going back
Right.
to a movie, would you watch a movie that is so predictable with a happy end? Neither. We need a little bit of
yes,
tension, a little bit of, oh my gosh, will he make it? Will she get him? Will they divorce? Will it happen? Otherwise it's
yes,
boring as well.
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
No, we came here to do this, to really experience life, because if we are a soul all the time, everything perfect, is like, no, no, we came to feel. And then you decide how you want to experience life.
And I would add, and this probably, I'm sure there's a listener out there that says, you guys, because you've done things but how do I get started? How do I get started? Because sometimes I get lost in this ideas. And for us is right. Start putting down your thoughts, spit them out. And in fact, we have a recommendation that we learned that was taught to us, which is sometimes some of the writing should be burned. Write
Yeah.
it down, get it out of your body, get that idea out, that feeling out, that anger, an incident that happened yesterday or 50 years ago, and then burn it and let that
Yes.
energy out. We just recently,
Last week.
last week, we did a massage that was so deep. The person is a master. She's actually German and she's
Oh,
here visiting. And she is a master of moving energy within your body because it gets stored
yeah.
in your cells, in your muscles. So that's another. Astrology has been very helpful for us. Tarot has been helpful for us. Exercise has been helpful.
Dancing.
Dancing. And that's how you start, and you start getting going. Become very intentional about, I'm going to move my energy because I know that beneath that feeling of guilt and shame and everything else that I judge myself for, there is something in me that wants to come out. And that's what we're looking for. And those tools help you in that process.
I so agree. It's again seeing yourself, and I like to have wordplays anyways, yourselves, um, or yourself as someone who needs to find ways to activate the cellular washing machine, I want to say, because we are in a cellular washing machine. Everything is water, and we just have to see, okay, how can we change and imprint the water? And writing, speaking. I mean, in my case, I love to work with sound baths and tuning forks. It's just,
Beautiful.
and then usually, I mean, salt is very important for the water, and so salt baths and literally purging and burning, and like it's literally what I feel like is our full-time job nowadays, because we are so rapidly shifting the vibrations, and then things come up and you just have to clean all day long. I mean, maybe it's the Virgo energy in me, but there's so much where I'm like, I'm just cleaning all day long, but not like the house, like myself, inside, outside. Like it's just a cleaning, 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 because that's what I feel we all came here for, to clean up the mess in the planet, because too many atoms got lost in the story, and then we had to go back and to be like, okay, wait a second, you atom, you can change. We need to clear up that coding and that corruption and that, because we are in And that's what I also always like to remind everyone of because it feels exhausting. It feels like a lot and it feels like, oh my gosh, what is happening, right? But it's happening because we are actually in a very privileged situation as a generation. We have these tools. We have so many ways of helping us shift energy and shift vibration. I mean, literally, if I think back on my grandma or my grandpa, or even my dad,
I
they
know.
they give they first of all didn't have access to they had other problems. Let's just be real, right? They had to make sure that there's food on the table and like things like that. And they couldn't think about, okay, let me explore vibrational frequency now and do a sound bath. I mean, still to this day, my dad looks at me and is like, well, maybe you should see like how you make money and just pay insurance and things like that because it's just, what he knows. And obviously, not
Yes.
saying that from
$100%.
he's saying that from a place of care also, right?
Yes. I love what you're saying because yes, this has not arrived to everybody all over the world. We
No.
were, for example, for me is really interesting. I looked a lot and a lot of what drives me is the wisdom of the world that keeps getting shared and it continues. And I remember, in fact, it's one of our quotes in the opening of our book from Nikola Tesla, the
Oh,
inventor.
he's my favorite. I love him. And 369,
Ah,
I mean, he's like my buddy. I feel like he and I, sometime in a lifetime, I don't know. But 369 is like my number for sure. Anyways,
oh, that's amazing.
369?
yeah. I mean,
Ah,
333 as well, but obviously 369, it's the number and the code of the universe. And Tesla has been talking about that.
And he has a quote where he says, "If you want to reach the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration."
Yeah.
This is an inventor, and this is, late 1800s, early 1900s, right?
But
And
actually,
then
in that
we
context, he mentions 369 because that's the original code. Yeah.
Yeah. And so this is not new. This is so for whoever is listening, start researching, right? Because it goes as far as human history is concerned. We've been talking about these things and they take different shapes. It's available. We found another book from 1910 called The Science of Getting Rich. And I
Oh,
think
yeah.
it's a very catchy cover and title, but really is the science of manifesting the universe and the life that you want to live in. And so curiosity is really important. There's a lot of information available to us right now, to whoever is listening. Our book is designed so that it takes you through the emotion of other people. So there's many, many doors that you can knock on.
I'm gonna send you one and you
Please.
can read it. Yes,
Yeah.
because we teach people the different frequencies and
Yes.
where they are. And people has been calling, oh my God, finally I have a guide that I at least I can begin to understand
Mm.
the what is the journey of what I'm supposed to begin to understand. And it's so important. God, my mom died when she was 48.
Wow.
She didn't have any of the tools. And she has so much challenge. She was an immigrant. At one point, she had um, an earthquake happened in Mexico that destroyed her the security that she has. So at one point, she needs to be alone with 4 kids. So she didn't have this understanding. So if you tell me, I've been doing this work and now that I have it, it's like I wish I have it for my darkest moment. Because at one point I see people they are suffering and it's like you can begin to read a story who's gonna plant a seed in you to begin to see life like I can do it in a different way. Okay, is through this. So when you begin to understand the big picture, then it's like I know how to move.
Mm. I love that. I even loved, we can, we'll ask in a second why the orchid specifically, but while you were speaking, I was thinking of, I mean, many things, but at the end of the day, it's the board computer is the brain, right? It's even the science of getting rich. It's all coming from the brain and the imprints in the brain and the coding in the brain. And I work a lot with hypnosis and
Mm.
subliminal messaging too. And so many times when you go into a hypnosis session, I love that actually, is that you go into a secret garden or something. And if I just thought about reading the orchid, even if it's just a story, but maybe for a minute just escape into a secret garden, right? Where you read the
Yes,
orchid, where you might plant an orchid next to the orchid that is already there and see if the
yes,
seed is sprouting or not. Like you don't have anything to lose except for a life that you might not feel like fully fulfills you or is the one that you don't have to hate your life to obviously read the orchid, but it's like, how can I improve it even just a little bit? And again, going back to see it as an experiment. Like you don't have anything
yes.
Yes.
to lose.
And
Yes.
to gain inspiration, because the characters, everyone has challenge.
Yeah,
And at one point, it's like, okay, what I'm doing is not working. I need help. So the orchid is a container of love
Yes.
when no one is gonna judge you. No one. They only gonna give you information and a space for you to explore.
Yes.
So imagine that you are going to a retreat, a high-end retreat for free, and they gonna pamper your soul.
yeah,
So it's like you begin to remove all the veils to discover your essence, that is love, and
yeah.
how to begin to direct the love in different ways, because that's how we're gonna nurture every part of our body.
Yeah.
So the characters, they have their own challenge and they go through this journey, and the reader begins to, I can do things in another way. Okay, I can do it in different. It's very interesting.
I love that you say it that way because it's reminding me also of again working with the Gene Keys and there are three levels necessarily to the shadow, the city, to reach the city. So from the shadow through the gift to the city. And a lot of what I've noticed, and even in my own journey, it's when your cells have not yet or have never experienced the vibration of the city state, it's very hard to get there. So you have
Yes.
to find something that activates in your cells that's that higher vibrational state. So your cells at least, had a taste of it because then you can always go
Yes.
back. That's why in my case, I love to work with plant medicine and I'm very grateful for all the times that I have been able to, but people also can get lost in it. So I'm a bit, I'm not putting any, recommendations out there, but there is a specific gift in these journeys, which is that it activates that vibration in you. And once you had a taste of it, you can always go back. You don't need the medicine anymore. You just have to
Mm.
remember in yourselves how that feels like. And I mean, Joe Dispenza talks about it. So many people talk about it. It's the feeling that creates the reality, but we have to sometimes feel it very, 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 very often so it becomes solidified or overwrites that frequency that is maybe lowering your vibration, keeping you in the shadow because it always comes back. But then we talked about it, it's covering the cell in love. That's the ultimate remedy. That is the highest vibrational state that we can be in. There's nothing else because the origin of everything is love, if people believe it or not, but it's true. It sounds so simple. It's like, yeah, everything is just love and it's all about love.
And to be honest, I didn't know until when I was 50 to love myself for first time.
Yeah.
You know, and
How
I
did you
go ahead.
discover that? Because that's probably, I mean, it's Valentine's Day's week, and self-love is probably the ultimate mystery of life. Everyone can love every other people and things and animals, but to love yourself, and in my Gene Keys, that's my North Node even. So how how, how did you discover how that feels, what that is?
Yes, I discovered that I was programmed to put all my love outside of me. So I was really in understanding that I need to love my parents.
Mm,
I need to love my kid, my dog. I need to love my boyfriend. And the boyfriend is gonna give me the acceptance that
mm,
I was looking. So all the stories and everything tells you that you're gonna receive the love from outside. And then you're gonna feel better until you have the house, until you have the husband, until you have the car, until you have things outside of you. So I was follow that path very diligent, but still I was not in harmony.
mm,
I was empty, even though that for outside, you can see me really successful, and was until you begin to crack the program and to understand that the most important love that you need to have is you. In that moment, for me, the experience was making peace with me,
mm,
forgiving myself, is understanding that I was sending the signals that I was not enough because I was not pretty enough. I didn't have the correct family. I was not, all these ideas I was removing one by one. So it's not only one thing, it's many things that I was able to begin to see little by little, to understand that the most important part was me.
mm,
But it's not like I wake up and today I love myself. Was impossible because even inside of me, imagine when you are afraid and when you feel shame. Yesterday I was speaking to a friend telling her how important is to tell secrets and to let them go because those secrets even hold you back.
mm,
So it's a series of different things that you need to do to really find your freedom. And because it's not one path for anyone, it's your own path. So the first time in the book, we focus ourselves to teach all the ladies to love themselves. So one of the exercise is to see you be in front of a mirror
mm,
and to say 100 times, I love you. The first time that I did that exercise,
Mm.
I cry and cry and cry because society never tells you how important it is to love yourself no matter what. I did so much damage to my body
mm,
at one point that I put implants, plastic, to try to please somebody to receive the love back, right, in my breast. So I removed them already after 25 years. And all those little things that you do because you want to be accepted, because people tell you that you are not enough. So is this the magazines, I keep telling my kids, the magazines keep telling you only the beautifuls are gonna be there. So I remove all the magazines, but still you receive all this message that who is beautiful? A person who is size 2. And I never gonna be a person size 2. The other day I was receiving a massage and the judgment that I have storage in my cells, in my legs, because I was not skinny enough. You see, but was not mine, was from my mother, from my grandmother, for you see, storage from in the cell, all these ideas that I was cracking and removing and let it go the energy, but until now I can see it more clear.
And
And
you
I
don't think
can,
it's just your thing. You realize it's actually generational, I want to say baggage, right? It's not just you. And then it's, I want to say it's easier to let it go and to be like, no, wait, that's just what I've inherited. Going back to the necklace analogy, I don't have to wear it anymore. It, and again, it's even maybe the world is not even living in that belief system anymore, but I'm operating from a belief system from the 40s or 50s because it's inside of my cells, right? And it's not even valid anymore.
I know. And to be honest, I've been trying many different therapies,
Yeah.
but until you are ready to see it into release, it's gonna happen.
Yeah. So, I mean, I've been again working on this whole food body thing for over 20 years and have tried probably everything under the sun. And then I was like, okay, either there's something wrong with me that nothing works, or it's just such a persistent thing, or I just have to see it as, okay, no one outside of me can actually help me out of this. I can have everything, but it's just I have to change it, or and I always have the choice to operate from the same thing or to not, and to
Mhm.
be like, well, in the world that I create from now on, this is not happening anymore. And that's the only way you can override it or change something. It's not easy because again, we get lost in the story again, and it's like, waves and ups and downs. And then always the cell gets triggered to old programming through projections and things. So we have to be very, as you said, the first thing is awareness, where we have to always be aware and all alert of, okay, what's firing right now. And that's also why I
Yes,
like the pausing. We just have to pause and see, okay, what movie am I caught up in right now? Is it the movie from my grandma, the movie from my
Hmm.
mom, from my dad, or is it actually my movie now? And if that's my movie now, do I like it, or am I now in the editor position again and can change something?
And that scenario that you have just described is an everyday thing. It's every moment of your life. Ask yourself, what am I doing? Why am I doing this? Whose is it? Whose pain am I carrying? And then say, okay, there's many, many tools out there. Which one can I use? Well, allow your intuition to start. Send that question into the universe. Universe, guide me to find the right message, the right tool to deal with this very same thing that I am. Because we're so powerful in in what we say. It's like decrees, right? For example, we use this a lot, is nothing but love
Mm.
enters this body,
yeah,
right? And we sometimes have to say it, but say it until you believe it. And that's almost like a shield that you put up so that negativity doesn't come in either at all or as often as it used to. But the same other decrees you can say, universe, today only send me messages that will lead me towards addressing this issue that I have in my mind right now. So that all of a sudden you become the conductor of your life as opposed to allowing yourself to kind of glide through it automatically. And sometimes it's okay to do that. In a way, I was living that way. but now I'm more intentional in how I live my life. And we try, like we mentioned before, massages, tarot. We go to shamans, we've tried plant medicine. And I agree with you. Do not become enamored with any one of them. They're all different tools, like a little bag of tools that somebody says, well, today I'm going to use the hammer. Tomorrow I'm going to use a screwdriver. Tomorrow I use a pair of pliers. Figure out what tool works for you and then experience it. And if it doesn't, find another tool, but don't give up. Keep looking because the answers are there waiting. It's like a flower waiting to sprout and open. That's what you are. Give yourself that opportunity and keep searching, keep being curious.
I love that. Yeah, and it's very aligned with also what's happening astrologically when Saturn and Neptune especially moves into Aries. It's really over. And it's tough because we've never experienced that. Our ancestors haven't because it's such a long journey. And
Circle.
Pisces is the end of the zodiac. And now in Aries, I really feel this, it's over that we have anything outside of us as the savior. You know, a book, a guide, a teacher, a medicine, whatever it is, it's all just, I want to say, to entertain us and to remind us and to help us when we get blindfolded again, right? Or too caught. But actually, it's not the thing that saves us. Never.
No.
It's just helping us. Like, yeah, when you don't know how to ride a bike, right? And you have the, how do we say that in English? I don't know, that the assistance first.
Bicycles, las rueditas.
The supporting,
Yeah,
yeah,
the
the
supporting things
support.
on a bicycle.
Yeah.
And at some point you have to remove them and drive yourself, you know? It's just what it is. It's no one is helping you. And that's not always easy, but it's also empowering at the same time because you can actually stop to find a guru, to find a teaching, to find anything. There's nothing to find out there. It's you have to find inside how to
And
shift.
to be honest, yesterday, because I have a profound meeting with a friend, at one point it's like but don't search more.
Mm.
It's like at one point it's like this is it. It's like the universe is giving you, I give you this. Okay, you are clean. Now go and live and have fun.
Yeah.
And that's it. It's like don't keep trying to find more things because you can continue to try to find things. And it's like at one point, it's like we come to live,
Yeah.
to enjoy life, to really enjoy a massage, enjoying to be loved, enjoying to help somebody, enjoy whatever you are doing, enjoy the challenge. It is like rewire yourself consciously to, okay, I want what I want to experience.
You know, it's funny. This reminds me, Kat, one day we were on a retreat and we were in this not so pretty part of town. And the exercise for everybody was they gave us three envelopes. And we went, it's go outside. When you're outside, open the envelope. So we go outside. We were in separate, we had different things to look for. I opened the envelope and it said, find beauty around you. And it's interesting because you look around, it was near the airport and it was very industrial. And the first image that came was, ugh, there's nothing pretty around here. And all of a sudden, just because the intention was given to us, find beauty around you. It's funny, you start looking for beauty in the most inhospitable of places, and you find the flower that's growing that shouldn't be there almost. You find people laughing. You find a couple walking together holding hands. And all of a sudden, it's, you know, that saying that says, what is it? Attention goes where you set your
Yeah.
intention. And all of a sudden, we found beauty and love in these places. And so that's how life is. You know, whoever you are listening, you want to find love, then set an intention in your life that said, from now on, every time I have a decision to make, I'm going to make sure that love is a critical element in the decision that I'm making. And ask yourself, does decision A have love at the end? Does decision B has love at the end? And if A has more, go to A, because that's what you want to go. I want life to be easy. Be intentional. Be conscious when you're making decisions. Is this an easy path or is this a hard path? Okay, I want easy, so I'm going to go here. But and through that, there's a thousand, if not millions, of different choices that you can make, but become intentional about your life. And what ends up happening is that all of a sudden, that power that we've been giving outside of us to whoever, mom, dad, the priest, food, television, alcohol, drugs, exercise, whatever, you start to bring it back in and you say, I am the power. The power is within me. I choose. And that's how little by little you start. It's like a hot air balloon with all these heavy bags around. You start cutting one bag and you go a little bit higher. And you cut another one. And maybe it's forgiving, it's gratitude, it's intention. And little by little, you start to rise and your hot air balloon starts to rise. And that's when you start connecting to love. That's the frequency. That's when you start saying, oh, I am living a different life than I was living yesterday. But it takes time, it takes effort, and no one can do it for you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
training scam. That's what I said. And, you know, even what came to mind while you were sharing that story is, and I want to give that to the listeners. And I only came, like, it just pinged to me because of what I've listened to a podcast yesterday, where something similar came up. Instead of saying, I am beautiful, that I am beauty. So when you were sharing that example or experience, how many of us would be like, okay, if there's nothing beautiful to find here, what about my hands, this body, me? Maybe I'm the
Me.
beauty in the whole situation that looks really fucked up and messed up. And I bring that up because a lot of people find themselves in situations, circumstances again, where they thought, you know, going back home or being in, you know, a very shitty place right now, whatever it may be,
Yes.
circumstances. And I always say, well, maybe you came there to be the alchemy frequency that that place needs right now, right?
For
And
sure.
yeah,
Yes.
we don't always like the jobs that we sign up for, but maybe you are the beauty in the chaos right now. Maybe you are the love in, you know, situations where everything is just fire. So,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. It reminds me of that saying that says, be the change that you want to
Yeah.
see in the world. Be love. Just be love. Be
Yeah.
kind. Be gentle.
Let's all
Take
be,
away the judgment.
yeah, be love warriors because we need those kinds of soldiers on the planet, you know. So,
Yeah.
and if we all need a reminder, we have to read the Orchid, right? And get lost in the stories to create a new story for humanity.
Yes. And please help us to spread the word
Yeah.
because that's why we are here to really, it's like a, do you need a tool? This is an option. Do you need a tool? This is an option. And then if more people know and see it, it's easy for everyone.
That's why we do the podcast, you know, or even, you know, I mean, my favorite thing to receive is books that someone really, you know, feel like, oh my gosh, after reading this, my perception of reality completely changed. That's why I've
Mm.
recommended the Seth material. I don't know if you're familiar with that. So many times, so many times. I'm like, you just read the Seth material and your reality will change, right? And we have to do that. We have to spread the word because we never know what resonates with someone, what plants the right seeds for someone. And again, even, sharing a podcast with someone that has a rough day, and maybe after listening to
Yeah.
that conversation, the whole world has, opened new doors for them. It's so valuable.
Hmm.
It's not just for us as creators and writers and authors. It's really thinking about the person you share it with. How could that impact that person's life? And maybe at some point they will
Yeah.
be like, when you shared the orchid with me and I changed my entire life, thank you forever for that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you for saying that because many people ask us, so why did you write the book? We didn't write a book because we needed to write or wanted to write a book. We wrote the book because we thought that was the best way to share with others the things that worked for us and made us live and feel and act differently. And our best intention was really to create this novel. It's a novel for everybody who's listening. It's called The Orchid, The Secret Code of Modern Goddesses. And we focus on goddesses because we wanted to focus on the feminine energy, kindness, love, empathy, nurturing, which is lacking in men and women, and it's available in English, in Spanish, in audiobook. You can get it on Amazon, you can get it on a bookstore, they will order it for you. But really is the story of five women who go to a retreat center and they're taught tools that they can use to start loving themselves again. And that's what you will experience. You will experience a 7-day retreat where you
Mhm.
accompany these women, and at the end of it, it feels like you were there with them. And it doesn't matter whether you're a woman or a man, non-binary, it doesn't matter. It is an experience for the soul. It is the soul that gets nurtured as you read it. And hopefully at the end of it, you walk away saying, I learned so much. There's so many things I want to try.
Or
And
yes, I have the inspiration.
that's right. That's right.
I mean, God created the world in 7 days, so let's create heaven in 7 days when we read the orchid. I love that. I will link it all down below, obviously, for everyone
Thank
to
you.
check out. And yeah, if anyone has read it, please share some feedback and what you create and how your world
We will
changed. I always
love.
love that. It's like the best thing ever when people try and experiment with these teachings and then something shifts and something happens. It's the best.
Yes, Kat, we cry every day of gratitude every time somebody says, the story touched me in a way that, and then fill in the blank, because we've heard just about anything at this point. It's really wonderful. It's just a way to ignite that curiosity within you.
Awesome. So, when to wrap up, do you have any final words or anything that you're excited for and would like to share for 2026?
You know, I'm gonna create more beauty in the world because that's why I'm gonna do it. So my invitation for anyone who is there, listen, is really create beauty in your life, in your world around you with the little rituals that anyone can experience to be present, to be mindful, and to have the life that you want.
Awesome.
And I will add to you who are listening, you're the most beautiful thing in the world. Your light, oh gosh, we need to see it. We want to see it. We want to experience it. When you're shining in your brightest form, my life is better. My life is enriched through yours. So please don't think for a moment that you can do it. We're not special at all. We know you can, and this is why we're here talking about it because we want you to experience that so that our world is better, so that our experience, because at the end we're one. And so to the end that any one of us is not yet in its full light, it always has a toll on everybody else. So just join us. And it feels really great. So certainly we hope you feel that too.
Come to the sunny side of the world. I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially when it's cold. So, thank you so much, Angel and Rocio. I hope that we speak very soon, and maybe we'll have you for another conversation on the podcast at some point. But in the meantime, everyone has time to dive into the orchid, which I will do as well. Very excited about that too. So thank you for sharing your light, your wisdom, your magic, and we will speak soon.